Two phones, one battle. Huawei Nova 16 Pro takes on Nothing Phone 4a Pro. Let's see which one truly steals the spotlight today. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro weighs 218 grams, just a bit heavier than the Nothing Phone 4a Pro. At 7.1 millimeters thick, the Huawei feels noticeably slimmer than the 8.6 millimeter Nothing. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro uses glass and aluminum for a premium feel. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro opts for plastic, which is lighter but less fancy. Huawei has an IP65 rating, so it handles splashes but not full water immersion. Nothing's IP68 rating means it can survive underwater, a big advantage for durability. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro has a slightly bigger 6.84-inch display for more screen space. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro's 6.75-inch screen is a bit smaller but still plenty usable. Huawei uses an LTPO OLED panel, which means deeper blacks and better battery efficiency. Nothing sticks with an IPS LCD, so colors won't pop as much or save as much power. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro offers a sharp 1320 by 2856 resolution for crisp visuals. Both phones have a smooth 120 Hz refresh rate for fluid scrolling. Huawei's 6000 nits brightness easily outshines Nothing's 1125 nits for outdoor use. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro has a massive 200-megapixel main camera for ultra-detailed shots. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro's 50-megapixel main camera still captures great photos for everyday use. Huawei's 50-megapixel ultra-wide lens lets you fit more in every shot with sharp detail. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro doesn't specify ultra-wide megapixels, so Huawei likely has the edge here. Huawei shoots video in 4K at 30 frames per second for crisp, high-resolution footage. Nothing's 4a Pro records only 1080p but offers smoother 60 frames per second video options. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro has a 50-megapixel front camera for super sharp selfies. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro only offers 8 megapixels, which is quite a drop. Huawei shoots front video in 4K at 60 frames per second for smooth, detailed clips. Nothing sticks to 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is decent but less crisp. That's a big advantage for Huawei if you love high-res selfies and video calls. Both the Huawei Nova 16 Pro and Nothing Phone 4a Pro have stereo speakers for immersive sound. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro includes a headphone jack, which the Huawei lacks. That's a big advantage for wired audio fans. Both the Huawei Nova 16 Pro and Nothing Phone 4a Pro pack a huge 7000 mAh battery. The Huawei supports 100-watt wired charging, which means much faster top-ups. Nothing's 45-watt wired charging is decent but noticeably slower in real life. Wireless charging is a big advantage for the Huawei with 50-watt support, while the Nothing lacks it. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro runs on the Kirin 9010S, which handles multitasking smoothly. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro uses the Dimensity 6300, good for everyday apps but less powerful. Huawei packs 12 GB of RAM, enough for heavy multitasking without hiccups. Nothing offers 6 GB of RAM, which might slow down intense app switching. Storage-wise, Huawei gives you 256 GB, plenty for photos and apps. Nothing's 128 GB is decent but could fill up quickly with media. Both the Huawei Nova 16 Pro and Nothing Phone 4a Pro support 5G for fast mobile data. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro has Wi-Fi 7, which is much faster than the Nothing's Wi-Fi 5. NFC is included on the Huawei, making contactless payments easy, but the Nothing lacks it. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro runs HarmonyOS 6.0, which feels fresh and unique. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro uses ColorOS 15, known for smooth and familiar Android experience. The Huawei Nova 16 Pro costs $500, which is quite a bit pricier. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro is much more affordable at $170. Huawei offers classic colors like black, white, and blue with a pink option. Nothing goes for a fresher look with Prism Violet, Prism White, and Icy Blue. The budget is tight. The Nothing Phone 4a Pro is a big advantage here. Huawei Nova 16 Pro is a good option for users who value stunning 6.84-inch LTPO OLED, ultra-detailed 200 megapixels camera, massive 7000 mAh battery. However, it may not be ideal if you are concerned about limited app ecosystem, bulky design for one-handed use. Nothing Phone 4a Pro is a good option for users who value massive 7000 mAh battery life, smooth 120Hz refresh rate display, affordable price under $200. However, it may not be ideal if you are concerned about IPS LCD screen technology, mid-range Dimensity 6300 performance. Wrapping up, both the Huawei Nova 16 Pro and Nothing Phone 4a Pro bring unique strengths, so your perfect pick really depends on what features matter most to you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.